how to knit a dishcloth. I'm going to be using a size 4.5mm knitting needles and a worsted weight 100% cotton yarn. You can find all of the links in the description box below for the materials that I'm using in today's video, as well as the link to the free pattern for this dishcloth. So be sure to reference all of that if needed. Now also, I'm going to be using circular needles just because I prefer to work with them. This dishcloth is knit flat, so you can use whatever needles that you prefer, straight, circular, DPNs. Really whatever you have on hand is absolutely perfect. Okay, so we're going to start off by making a slip knot, just like so, and we're going to place that on our first needle. And then we're going to cast on 2 stitches to total 3. So there's our slip knot, that's our first stitch. And then I'm just going to use the long tail cast on to cast on 2 more stitches. There's 1, and there's 2. There we go. And then we are going to start our first increase row. Now this is the row that we're going to repeat, and we'll keep repeating until our dishcloth is as big as we want it to be. So I'm going to knit the first stitch, and then I'm going to knit front and back in the next stitch for our increase. So insert your needle into that stitch and knit it like normally, but don't slide that stitch off the needle. Instead, bring that right hand needle to the back and knit that stitch through the back loop as well. And there we go. There's an increase. And then knit that last stitch. And like I said, we're just going to keep repeating that row. So knit the first stitch, and then knit front back. So knit that stitch through the front loop, and then pull it back and knit it through the back as well. And then knit until the end. And obviously that knit till the end instruction will grow a lot over the next few rows. Okay, and I will show you it just a couple more times. So knit the first stitch, knit front back, through the front and through the back, and then knit until the end. Oh, dropped that stitch there. There we go. Alrighty, and I'll show it to you one more time. Turn your work, knit the first stitch, knit front and back in the second stitch for our increase, and then knit until the end. And don't drop your stitch like I keep doing. Okay, knit front back, and then knit until the end. Alrighty. So we are just going to keep repeating that increase row until, again, your dishcloth is as big as you want it to be. Now, I'm going to repeat it until I have a total of 42 stitches, but you can, of course, change that however you like. I will meet you back here for the decrease section once I reach 42 total stitches. Alrighty, so I have finished making my dishcloth as big as I want it to be. Now, of course, this is half the size, so we're going to start decreasing now to make it into our square shape. I have 42 stitches across my needle. Like I mentioned earlier, please feel free to make this dishcloth as small or big as you want it to be. Simply work less or more increase rows, respectively. So, I'm going to start decreasing now. Just like our increase row, this is just a 1 row repeat that we're going to repeat until the end of our dishcloth. So I'm going to start off by knitting the first stitch, just like normal, and then I'm just going to knit the next 2 stitches together. So I'm going to insert my hook, or my needle, excuse me, into both stitches, like normal, and then just knit those 2 stitches together. And that's all there is to it. And then we're just going to knit until the end of our row. Just knit all of those stitches, and that is it for our decrease row. So I'm just going to knit until the very end, and then I'll show it to you one more time, and then leave you to it. Okay, I have knit all of those stitches, so I'm just going to turn my work and continue repeating that same row. So knit the first stitch, knit the next 2 stitches together to decrease 1 stitch, and then knit the rest of the stitches for that row. So we are simply going to repeat this row until we have a total of 3 stitches remaining. So regardless of how big or small you are making your dishcloth, you're just going to repeat this decrease row until you have 3 stitches remaining. So I'm going to go do that, and then I will meet you back here, and I'll show you how to bind off and finish off this amazing dishcloth. Alrighty, so I have decreased until I have 3 stitches remaining. So now I am just ready to bind off these stitches and finish off this dishcloth. So I'm just going to bind off normally. I'm going to knit the first stitch, knit the second stitch, and then pull the first stitch over the second, just like that. And then I'm going to knit that last stitch, and then pull that first one over the second again. And then I will cut my yarn, leaving just a little bit of a tail for us to weave in a second. Take my needles out, and then I will just make this loop a little bit bigger and pull it through to secure. And there we go. So now all that's left to do is weave in your ends. So I'm going to grab a yarn needle over here and thread this through just like that. And I'm just going to go through a few of the little garter bumps here. No rhyme or reason to this. Just weave it in a little bit so that it doesn't come undone or anything like that. And that should be good. And then I'll do that same thing over here on this second corner. Just like this. Oh, if I can thread my yarn needle, of course. I always have trouble with this step. And again, I'm going to do the same exact thing. Just go through a few of the garter bumps to secure that tail. And that should be good. And then I will trim both of these ends nice and close to the fabric. But of course, don't accidentally trim a stitch because that would be unfortunate. And there we go. There is our finished dishcloths. Dishcloths don't usually need blocking, but if you want them to lay nice and flat, if you are gifting them maybe, or something like that, you can absolutely do so. In terms of washing, if you chose a 100% cotton yarn like I did, again, this yarn is linked down below. You can just throw these in the washer and dryer, and they will last for years to come. Dishcloths, handmade dishcloths are our absolute favorite, and they last so long, and they work the best in my opinion. So I really hope that you enjoyed making yours. I hope you found this dishcloth tutorial helpful and useful, and that you absolutely loved making yours. Now, one of the biggest reasons I designed this pattern was because I am hosting a year-long dishcloth make-along, and I would love to have you join us. So the rules are super simple, and I have a video describing the entire making along that I will link down in the description box below if you want to check it out. These are free patterns, and you are more than welcome to use them for this make along, but you can also use any pattern by any designer, not just me, of course. You can join us on Instagram using the hashtag, or you can join the Facebook group as well, which is a super fun way to just be involved in the community and share your dishcloths and your makes throughout the year. I'm really excited about this make along, and I would, again, absolutely love to have you join us. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed following along with this tutorial. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss out on any videos in the future. And be sure to check out all of the links in the description box below. You'll find the materials that I used in this video, the materials that you'll need if you decide to make this dishcloth, but also the links to the free patterns as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy making. Bye.